Welcome back to Donkey Kong Country. We're still going through factories, but I think we're finishing it up this part, so that's nice.
It's
So,
it just hit me that we started going on all these vaguely cartoonishly political tangents in the factory level, which is oddly fitting. Yeah.
it sure sucks to be in late-stage capitalism, says Agretzko. That is an actual line from the second season.
Oh, god damn it. I still am only like halfway done. So it's just like, oh, should I take an arranged marriage because my love life doesn't seem to work when I'm taking control of it myself? And it's just like, Agretzko, why? Why do you do this?
What is this we're
I
talking
still
about
need
now?
to watch it.
You never seen Agretzko?
No.
It's a Sanrio show, so the same people who make Hello Kitty.
Oh,
And it's
so
basically
anime.
just yeah, so but it's basically just a look at like like everybody's an animal and whatnot, so Sanrio and whatnot, but it's basically just a look at
Quarter life crisis.
yeah, quarter life crisis and, how it feels to be a woman working in an office in Japan. Like, there's a lot of really funny jokes in
Okay.
there. Like, for example, her terrible boss is literally a pig, which is... and then there's another sly nod I think is funny is that
So-
when she's on a blind date with someone, one of them says, "Oh, you're really cute. You look like you could be a Sanrio character." And it's just like, okay, that's pretty good as well. There's also like you've probably seen some of it. It's just like there's the cute red panda, and then when she gets angry, she does death metal.
The way you're describing it makes me really interested because it sounds like Japanese female Dilbert.
I mean, kinda.
Basically, yes, pretty much.
Just with animals?
Yeah, like there's just a certain...
I'm hooked already.
Yeah, there's basically there's one part where one of her coworkers, who is a hippo, is like going on and on about like her pictures of her baby nephew, and she's just like sweating and trying to get out of this very uncomfortable conversation, and she doesn't know how to. It's great.
I enjoy office humor because I don't know. I've been a Dilbert fan since I was like way too young to understand the office humor, and I don't know why. But ever since
Yeah.
I've gotten old enough to appreciate the office humor, it's gotten even better for me. And I've never actually worked in an office.
It's just one of those things where even if you don't work in an office, you still get those kinds of situations where you just have coworkers who are just
Nobody
a
likes
pain
you.
in
Go
the
away.
a pain in the ass, pretty much.
It's a little weird.
You gonna go for it? Yeah, you're going for it. Good.
Well, I have to if I want to play all the levels.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw you
need all
skip
the-
one of the letters in a previous level just because it was like in a weird place.
Do you get anything if you like? I know. What do you get for beating all of the extra levels you get for the Kong?
You get the
Letters.
special world.
The special world. Okay. Do you get anything for doing like all the puzzle pieces? Like,
No,
okay, like I know that you get specific like concept art and stuff for doing
you
puzzle
just
pieces.
get a reward per stage based on getting all the puzzle
Okay.
pieces.
So there's no like reward specifically for getting 100%, right?
Not that I know of
Okay.
or can recall.
You know, one game that I've always kind of wanted to 100%, but I don't think I ever will because I'm too bad at it, is Rayman Origins. Because it has a lot of similar things to this game, like you have to do the speed run and you have to find all of the hidden guys and whatnot, but that game's hard enough just to beat, so I don't think that I would be good enough in order to do the ultra hard crap that the game expects you to do. So, eh.
All right, that was interesting. They do
I
get
guess it depends a little bit on your range of difficulty.
I also give up way too easily, so if something's like
It's one of
a
those
little
games
bit
that's
hard.
it's one of those games where it's actually easier to 100% with multiple people because you can just cover getting all the lums and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I'm pretty sure they have more lums, or you're just more likely to get all of them if you're playing with more people. Because they also do the thing where you can walk over each other without bumping.
Did you just get impatient there, Ryan?
I guess.
You're like, yeah, I'll just tank the hit.
I mean,
Dixie can take
I'm
it.
I'm back at full health, so. Take that, whatever it is.
Yeah, you know,
Why are you Owl still here? I beat up your boss.
Ted was making a point about how like earlier that how there's maybe a little too much green in the art design here, but at the same time, I'm seeing a lot of variation within every island's theme.
Yeah, no, I said that a little bit early in the level because they have done a bunch of stuff to try to make the levels feel more unique. Like they have the honey level and then the jelly level. So
Yeah.
it's still a lot of I'm still not like completely sold, but they certainly were trying to have variety with this game.
Well, it's certainly more variety than like say Crash Bandicoot 1 or 2, where there were only like a few couple themes spread out across the game. And I realize that's an unfair comparison because it's like a 2000s game versus a 90s game, but a 2010s game. But at the same time, oh hey, we're finally like seeing ice in this game.
It's almost like they forgot this game was called Tropical Freeze.
Well, no, I'll be getting to a lot more ice than in the next and final world.
I mean, to be fair, I think it was probably a smart idea to not make it all ice because it's like ice and water levels are the two most hated ones.
I like ice
So-
levels more than water levels.
You see, it depends on the game for me because water levels, at the very least, are usually just a different experience from the normal levels. Just, it's just like, okay, water's something completely different. Ice is what you're normally doing, but your control is worse.
Sometimes ice levels don't even have like really all that much different in terms of gameplay. Like people talk about Ice Cap Zone for some reason, and I'm just like, Ice Cap Zone is every other level in Sonic 3 except it's white. So
Well,
Yeah.
The interesting thing about Ice Cap Zone, it doesn't have anything to do with the ice. It's the infinitely, like the infinite vertical parts where you feel like you're falling forever. Like that's what I
Oh.
remember about that.
yeah, but
zone.
that's not even something Ice Cap Zone did first. Metropolis Zone and Sonic 2 had that go.
Wait, it did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
there were a few
see,
specific parts toward the end where you'd fall forever until you jumped off the pits. Or you,
Oh, you know what? Now I'm remembering that.
Yeah.
I haven't played any of the
yeah. The infinite
Genesis Sonics in a long time.
the infinite vertical scrolling in Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles was more of a thing in terms of making the levels bigger. Every level, technically, I think, except for like one or two that had bottomless pits, maybe.
Yeah, they all rap.
Yeah, they all wrap in on each other, and they do that in order to lengthen themselves. Because
Yeah.
they had a limited amount of space, so their solution for making bigger levels was to just have the levels zigzag in and out as much as they could. It's kind
So
of like file compression.
So it's
Well,
one of those.
it's kind of like how in Zelda 1 all the dungeons are technically on the same map.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where if you mapped out what the level should look like, it would look very different than how the game looks.
Yeah, I mean, like
in its,
you can
in its
you-
data.
Yeah, you can move. You can like Google Maps for Sonic 3 and Knuckles levels, and just see how crazy they are in terms of wrapping in and out of each other. It's really interesting. It's like
I think the first time I realized that, the first one that comes to mind for me is Marble Garden.
yeah, Marble Garden's a really big one in terms of that. It's interesting because like in Sonic 2's case, the levels were really just like very horizontally oriented. They had like alternate pathways, but for the most part, it was just this pathway leads up, this one leads down, and they all lead in one direction, even if you go left for a little while. Sonic CD, everything was very vertically oriented, but if you just ran to the end of the levels were very short.
Yeah.
The
It made that game kind of not fun in a lot of ways.
yeah, and then we get Sonic Mania, which sort of combines the two. But Sonic 3 and Knuckles made this really cool compromise that Mania didn't have to make its levels long. So from a technical standpoint, it's very interesting, but it also prevented the levels from being quite as speed-oriented as Sonic 2's levels, which accounts for people preferring Sonic 2's over Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
It's not so much that Sonic 2 is faster than Sonic 3. It's more for me
Oh.
that I feel like a lot of the stages in 3 and Knuckles go on a little bit long.
Oh, yeah.
That's more preference.
When
kind
I
of
say
thing, suppose.
speed-oriented, I mean that there are more ways to make a level go by faster in Sonic 2 than there are in Sonic 3 and Knuckles levels. I mean,
I'm just gonna bad Nick bounce through the entire stage to beat the first level in like 20 seconds.
yeah, I mean, like, when a stage gimmick in Sonic 3 and Knuckles slows you down, it slows you down. A stage gimmick in Sonic 2 slows you down. There's usually a way to get around it. But, yeah. Interesting. Sonic games are interesting to look at in terms of platforming stage design. But
They really are.
what was the original thought that got me on this tangent? Because I don't
Oh,
remember.
ice levels. It was ice levels.
Ice levels,
Why
right, yeah.
Ice Cap doesn't really do anything icy other than a snowboarding
Yeah.
set piece at the very beginning.
I've always found that really kind of annoying because everyone remembers Ice Cap Zone, and
Well, that's what makes it a good, nice level.
everyone remembers
Because it's not actually an ice level.
everyone remembers Ice Cap Zone, but I feel like it's only because it has really good music.
I mean, probably.
There's
yeah.
not much about Ice Cap Zone's level design that sticks out to me.
I feel like, Sonic. You can make an argument that Sonic has always been a lot more about style over substance, and I mean, I'm saying argument. I'm not necessarily saying that's the case for every game, but I feel like they did make a good choice in making Ice Cap's a pretty short, set piece heavy level, which is what I think a lot of people associate
Yeah,
with Sonic.
I mean, fair enough.
I think that they also made the right idea in making the ice only an aesthetic thing rather than a gameplay thing, because the last thing Sonic, a game that requires twitch reflexes and severe concentration, the last thing that needs is for the control to be more slippery. So
You're not wrong.
like, I can't think of a single ice level in the series that has had like typical slippery floor control. Actually, nope. Sonic Lost World, I think, did that.
Yes,
Like
it did.
90%.
Well-
Yep, and that's why that game's bad.
When I say
Fuck
ice
off.
level, I don't necessarily mean it needs to be slippery ice gimmicks. Ice Cap Zone did do a few things that I almost wish it had done more of because they're so fleeting. There's the things that freeze you in an ice cube, and you have a chance to break out before it damages you. And then there's the little piles of snow that slow you down, and you have to spin dash them away. But they're such momentary things that it barely registers as a strong element of level design. You know?
Also, when did we get into Gutsman's level?
I would even go so far as to say that Press Garden Act 2 was a stronger ice level than Ice Cap Zone.
I mean, kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know when we got into Gutsman's level.
This is Gutsman's level. At the very least, this doesn't look as ridiculously and stupidly tight as Gutsman's level, because if you're 1 frame late, you die.
If I had
The problem is you drop like a freaking rocket Mega Man.
Yeah, but why? What's so weird about the physics on those specific platforms that make you instantly drop like you weigh 6,000 pounds?
if I had stuck with Tropical Freeze longer, it's looking like I would have really loved the game because these platforming challenges are pretty interesting. Not necessarily difficult, but interesting.
From what I can tell, just by looking at it, the extra stages in this game are not nearly as mean as they were
No.
in the original.
No, in returns, they're really mean.
Oh no,
Yeah.
the ones in returns are freaking insane.
You say
Yeah.
we keep referring to Returns as the original, and in the context of the retro series, I suppose it is. But
Are you ready for another terrible boss?
this feels a little like the kind of awkward phrasing that surrounds discussion of the original Xbox. Now that there's another system called the Xbox One.
Oh, God.
Well, I mean, what is Donkey Kong Returns except for the new Super Mario Bros. Of Donkey Kong?
No, you see, I don't even really like Donkey Kong Country Returns all that much, but I wouldn't say that it's
I
the
wouldn't
new Super Mario
say
Brothers
I
of
wouldn't
Donkey
say
Kong.
New Super Mario Brothers because the New Super Mario Brothers games are very deliberately imitating the gameplay design and feel of retro.
Yes.
Not retro. That's
Until
of the NES Super Mario Brothers games. But
Oh, that polar bear's gonna go Kirby on DK.
The smile was great, I will say that.
I love how expressive DK is.
Yeah, but I don't even like Returns, but that game certainly had a lot more soul put into it
than
And,
any
like,
of the new Mario games. Yeah.
yeah, aside,
Yeah.
I mean, I give
The first one they at least tried somewhat.
yeah, no, I give the first one some passes. Like, the level design, I'd say you could probably argue is better in most of the later ones, but the first one, for some reason, just feels like it has more heart put into it for some reason when it comes to the new Super Mario
It
Brothers.
feels a bit like the new Super Mario Brothers games were designed under a producer directive to not be different, whereas in Returns and Tropical Freeze's case, the producer directive is more like, okay, we're making a 2D Donkey Kong game for the modern generation. What does that look like?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just it's a game that clearly has a lot more put into it. So I appreciate that. It's just I personally do not like the level design in that game very much at all. But again, that's more subjective.
Have you tried the 3DS version?
No. I mean, I'm sure I could probably find it pretty cheap, and that will at least fix some of the surface issues, like the the shake to roll and stuff like that. And I believe they also had a more forgiving difficulty option in the 3DS version as well, but I don't really remember that. I'm also
I mean, it's mostly that it's just not using very gimmicky controls for gameplay elements.
I wonder how well does the game hold up graphically? Because
I mean, it's a 2D game, so it's not like there's that much that needs to be changed.
yeah, but it's just when it comes to Wii conversions to the 3DS, it's a little hit and miss. Like, for example, I would say that the Kirby games on 3DS look better than Return to Dreamland on Wii, but then you get something like Xenoblade, which on 3DS looks like a dumpster fire. So,
Yeah.
it's all a matter of art style and how detailed you want to be. Donkey Kong's in this weird place where, yes, it is a cartoony art style, but they do go out of their way to try to have very intricate details in many ways. So,
Yeah. I mean, that's just the natural extension of what the series started with, being a CGI-based pre-rendered game. But speaking of art style, I did want to note, like, I do like what they did with the polar bear's face here, where
oh yeah, it doesn't really look all that cartoony for the most part.
it leans more heavily toward a realistic bear for the sake of making the boss look more intimidating.
I wonder if it's related to the bears from DKC3.
I don't know. And it's first purple now because it fell into the water.
Yeah.
That's cute. I will say this boss looks more fun than the other ones we fought so far.
He takes a long time, though.
Well, they all
Yeah,
seem
but it
to
looks like
have a serious case of Dragon Ball going on, but you know,
Yeah.
it looks like a more fun drag than the previous drags. Oh,
yeah, he has more. You're doing more.
is this? I mean, look at fucking Armstrong here from Full Metal Alchemist.
It looks like he'd just be better off if he dropped the hammer, though. Is also the thing,
Probably.
because it's the only thing that's making it possible for us to hit him.
I mean, I do like how the bosses in this game sort of change
He's
up their
tiny
tactics
Lucas.
from time to time. Like, you started out throwing bombs, and then he got wise to that, so he stopped kicking bombs at you for a while.
His tiny little feet. Yeah, like the little dupe that he does is very silly looking.
And he's dead.
He's so precious. I love him.
Well, he's blasting off again, so there.
Oh, they actually do like the twinkle too.
He just looks dizzy. He doesn't look defeated.
Hey, I can still fight you guys. Wait, no.
I
there
punched
you
you in the face like 20 times. Go away.
That's what we call a good chin stat. So,
But we finally made it all the way back to Donkey Kong Isle.
Oh man, now there's 8 whole worlds on this island that we have to go through in order to make it back home.